What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video we're going to be comparing the specs of the minis, the Samsung Galaxy S4 mini to the Samsung Galaxy S3 mini, its predecessor. Now the S3 mini, last year it came out and it was quite a cut down version, I'd say, of the S3. Is that the same case with the S4, and what's changed between these two devices? Do hit that thumbs up button and let's find out in this head-to-head spec comparison review. So let's start off with size. The S4 mini is slightly larger in terms of height than the S3 mini. However, it is slightly less in width than the S3 mini, and it's also thinner by a millimeter than the S3 mini. So they have made some improvements there, but it is the reason why it's got the larger height is because it's also got a larger screen. It's a 4.3-inch screen, whereas the S3 mini has a 4-inch screen. So they have improved the screen size. We'll look at resolution in a second. In terms of weight, it's also been improved. The S4 mini is 107 grams, whereas the S3 mini is 111.5 grams. So roughly speaking, about 4.5 grams. Not a huge deal, but they have shaved off a little bit of weight on there as well. Now in terms of resolution, the S3 mini has an 800 by 480 pixel resolution, whereas the S4 mini has a 960 by 540 resolution. In terms of pixels per inch, the S3 mini 233 ppi pixel density, whereas the S4 mini has 256 pixels per inch. So not a huge deal in terms of ppi because it's a larger screen. Not a huge deal. The S4 mini does have a slightly higher pixel density, but it's not going to be that noticeable. But it does have a larger screen, 4.3-inch screen, so that's going to be quite nice. In terms of build and design, both the S3 mini and the S4 mini have the polycarbonate plastic build, and they both look pretty much identical to the elder brothers, shall we say. And in terms of the colors available, the S4 mini is in the white frost and the black mist versions, whereas the S3 mini, you've got the white and the pebble blue, and you've got some other different versions as well which are not widely available, but the white and the pebble blue are the most popular versions. Now looking at the processors, the S3 mini dual-core 1 GHz processor, whereas the S4 mini has a dual-core 1.7 GHz processor, so a much higher clock speed on the processor here, so you are going to get a faster phone hopefully. Internal memory, the S3 mini, you had the 8 and the 16 GB versions. The S4 mini, currently they're only saying the 8 GB version. There may be a 16 GB version later as well, but the initial version that's going to be available will be the 8 GB version. Both do have expandable memory, however, the S3 mini up to 32 GB via a micro SD card. The S4 mini 64 GB via a micro SD card. So you've got much more expansion on the S4 mini. RAM, the S3 mini had 1 GB of RAM, and that was only available on a 3G, so you only had 3G versions of the S3 mini. Whereas the S4 mini, you've got the 1.5 GB version, which is a 3G version, and you've also got a 2 GB version, which is a 4G LTE version. So you do have 4G availability on the S4 mini, and there's also a 3G dual SIM version as well, which is quite interesting. Now in terms of cameras as well, again more improvements here. The S3 mini had a 5 megapixel camera, the S4 mini an 8 megapixel camera, so high resolution there. The S4 mini, however, also comes with some new features that come from the S4 original, so it's brought some of those down. You've got sound in shot, you've got drama shot, as well as panoramic images, etc. So you've got some of these new features on the S4 mini. In terms of video, the S4 mini films at 1080p through the rear-facing camera. The S3 mini only 720p, so you've got high resolution in terms of video from the rear-facing cameras as well. The front-facing cameras, the S3 mini was pretty disappointing, just a mini VGA camera, whereas the S4 mini has a 1.9 megapixel camera capable of filming 720p HD, so very nice here. Again, loads of improvements. In terms of the operating systems, both have Android Jelly Bean. However, the S3 mini currently on 4.1, whereas the S4 mini 4.2.2. So it's going to be the latest version of Android. Both going to have the TouchWiz UI from Samsung. However, the S4 mini does have lots of the features from the S4 original. You've got S Translator, S Health, Group Play, and you've also got the IR Blaster. So you're going to be able to control your television, etc. from there. And air view and air gestures have also come onto the S4 mini, which is absolutely great. these features are not available on the S3. Battery, the S3 Mini had a lithium ion 1500 milliamp battery, whereas the S4 Mini has a 1900 milliamp battery. So you've got a higher milliamp battery on the S4 Mini as well. Yes, it's a slightly larger display, but I do think it's going to give you better performance compared to the S3 Mini. Both of these batteries are also removable as well, another thing to bear in mind. In terms of price, now the S3 Mini, the 8GB version currently is £200 in the UK or $300. The S4 Mini, the 8GB version, the prices aren't fully confirmed yet, but you're going to be looking at around about £300, between £300 to £330, or roughly about $450 in the US, with a release in July 2013. So those were the key differences between the S3 Mini and the S4 Mini. The S4 Mini, I am quite impressed. I think there is quite a nice update. You can see the differences between these two. The S4 Mini is upgraded in pretty much every aspect. It is a better phone overall, and I think the S3 Mini is probably going to be discontinued pretty soon because the S4 Mini is definitely going to take over. However, if you are after a cheap device with a decent spec, then the S3 Mini may be a good option, especially after the price drops a little bit. So what do you think of both of these devices? What do you think of the improvements on the S4 Mini? Do drop me a comment below and let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.